Hejsan allihopa! Välkomna! Come on in! So today I'm gonna do the tag beauty items YouTube made me buy. So this is an older tag that not that many people are doing anymore, but I did see a smaller creator that I've followed for years by the name Glitter Lips Beauty. And when I was watching it, she was talking about a lot of old products and it's just brought back that nostalgic feel. So I decided I should do it myself and go through my collection. So when I was going through my collection, I realized probably like 80% of the makeup items I have has been in some way inspired by YouTube. I think the better question for me would be what items have not been inspired by YouTube. But anyway, so when I was going through my collection, I did put quite a bit of items in my box here next to me to show you guys. So I'm going to try to be quick and not ramble on for too long because this is probably going to be a long video. So maybe grab a cup of water, coffee, tea, whatever, because I feel like this is going to be a long one, but I'll try to be quick. So the first items I'm going to talk about are quite old, and these would be quite in the beginning of beauty YouTube when they were popular. I don't really hear people talk about them anymore unless they're talking about old products that used to be popular. So the first items that I'm going to talk about are these two from the Balm. And one is the FratBoy Blush that I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen at some point. And then Lou Manizer. I remember so many people talking about these, especially the Lou Manizer one. The FratBoy was very popular and it's a beautiful peachy, pretty subtle color. I'll swatch it a bit if you can see it right there. It's very subtle, very neutral, and a lot of people love this. But I think the Lou Manizer was even more popular. And to be quite honest, I don't know why I bought it. I wasn't using highlighter at that time. I didn't really like it. I found like I'm just putting a lot of glitter on my skin. But I did buy it and it is really pretty. And actually I have been thinking about actually taking it out and using it more because it is old and I probably should toss it, but it's so beautiful and it's so simple and I don't think it's too bad. Maybe a tad bit dark for me, but with a light hand I can make it work. I mean, nowadays a lot of people wear highlights and it doesn't matter if you can see them because back then when I got this, it wasn't very common, so I felt like it stood out so much that I didn't feel comfortable using it, but I think I'll try to give it a little bit more love nowadays. So when this was popular, there wasn't that many highlighters on the market. I feel like it was this, and something that I also have is one of the Mineralize Skinfinish from MAC that are very luminous. The one of these that I think was really popular that I didn't get was the Soft and Gentle, and I feel like it's not popular anymore, but there are a few people still uses it. This one was actually inspired by Pixie Woo and Sam Chapman nowadays. And she said the Porcelain Pink, which is a limited edition, is beautiful and if you see it, pick it up. So I went to MAC to buy something else, which also was highly popular, and I bought MAC products because they were so popular on YouTube. But I ended up picking this one up because of her recommendation, because they happened to have it. It was in stock right then. It was limited edition. I was like, I'm gonna get that. I heard it's great. Why did I get it? I didn't wear shimmer on my cheeks. This is very shimmery. It is beautiful, but I didn't end up getting a lot of use out of it, so. But I still have it, and every time I do a declutter, I for some reason can't let it go. So I still have it. But yeah, this was inspired by Sam Chapman, or Pixie Woo as they were called back then. So then I have one more item that is inspired by Pixie Woo and probably Sam Chapman. I think Nick used this too. And it is this watercolor blush from Sandler in Cherub. He had a lot of different colors, but this one was the one that I thought would look the best on me. And this is actually my second one. So I bought it, used it a lot, tried to use other items since I had a lot of makeup, and didn't finish it up. It got old. I didn't feel comfortable using it, so I got another one. And the same thing happens. With this one, you only needed a little bit, and it went a long way. So I used it sparingly, and I still have some. And for these ones, the expiration date is like 6 months, and I'm pretty sure this is quite a few years old, so I probably should toss it, but it has a special place in my heart, and that's why I haven't tossed it. But I guess I need to give them up. To be quite honest, I have not heard anybody else talk about Daniel Sandler after that. So I don't know if they actually even make makeup anymore or if it's just professionals that use it. But this was a beautiful, beautiful liquid blush. And I would still recommend it if you are in the market for one, if they still make them. Then another old school one that I do not have the original one of is from NYX, and it's their Taupe Blush. And I remember people raving about this. However, you couldn't get NYX in Finland when this was really popular. And I got mine, I think, in Barcelona, I think. And it was in the new packaging. And I liked it. However, I don't really contour. It's right there. So I don't really know why I bought it. I thought if I buy it, I'm going to contour and I will look all chiseled, and I didn't like it. It was too much work every day, so I just stopped doing it. So that was a bit of a waste, but I have it. So then I have this moisturizer from Embryolisse, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about this one. This was really popular, especially by makeup artists. This one was not easy to get my hands on, but I did order it from Look Fantastic or something, and I started using it, loved it, and I still use it to this day. This one is pretty much gone, and I need to get my hands on YouTube, but this one is great. If you have drier skin, this is a really good everyday moisturizer. In the wintertime, probably need more than just this, but in the summer, it's awesome. So I would highly recommend it. Even after all these years, it's a great, great moisturizer. So then I have a makeup brush that a lot of you probably know, but these were the brush to get. And this is the MAC 217 brush. So it's an eyeshadow blender brush. And everybody was raving about these. And these were like 20 euros a piece. So it's an expensive brush, especially for me. But it's a lovely brush. However, another brand came on the market with a very similar brush. To be honest, a lot of the times I don't even know that I'm not grabbing my MAC brush when I get my Zoeva brush. And Zoeva brushes were highly raved on YouTube quite a few years back. And especially for people in Europe, they were like, these are the best, you really need them. So I ended up buying Zoeva brushes and never regretted it. They are great. And I have plenty of their brushes, and most days these are the brushes that I use. I use these every day, and sometimes the MAC brush because I don't really know the difference. I just grab one that is clean and then do my makeup. I use the eyebrow brush every day. This is the 322 brow line brush. It's great for powders or for pomades and stuff. I use their blush brush. As you can see, it's quite tattered, but I love it. And this one is actually a highlighter brush, but I use it for setting underneath my eyes and setting most of my face. So I don't use the Luxe Face Definer as much because it's a little bit big in my opinion, but I love Zoeva brushes. I feel like they are really awesome. They're not crazy expensive, but they're not cheap either. But yeah, these were highly rated, and I still use them to this day, every day when I'm putting on my makeup. So I would highly recommend these brushes. So then I have this primer by Guerlain, and this one was inspired by Tati Westbrook, or Glam Life Guru, like she was called then. This one is the Radiance Concentrate with Pure Gold. I bought this one at the airport when I was going to visit my then boyfriend, now husband, and I bought it at the airport because it's tax-free and you pay like 24% tax in Finland. So I got this. It was still super expensive and I did not see a difference. So I was quite disappointed. I have used a lot, as you can see, because I paid like 70, 80 euros for it. So I'm gonna use it up, but yeah, nowadays I don't really use it because I don't really see a difference. And I do regret buying this. I mean, she has different skin from me. She's still a few years older than me, and she used to have more oily skin. So probably was better for her, but for me it did nothing. So that was a big bummer. Then we have the butter bronzer that everybody was raving about. And trying to get Physicians Formula in Finland is really hard. So it took me a really long time until I could get my hands on it. And then I finally did. And I was disappointed. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice bronzer, but I don't really love the color on me. I got it in light bronzer, so yeah, it was nice. Nothing to write home about. So then I have another primer from Becca, and this is their Backlight priming filter. And a lot of people were raving about these, but I think Lily Pebbles and the Anna edit were the ones that convinced me to buy it. And it is really lovely. I do like it. However, I usually mix it with something else because I think it's a little bit too luminous maybe, and the color might not be exactly correct for me, but it is nice and I still have it. I still have some left. I should really try to use it up because it's getting quite old, but yeah, this was highly raved about and I bought it and it is a good product, so I do not regret buying it. Then I have this Hourglass Foundation. And a lot of people were raving about this foundation. So it's the stick foundation that is like a triangle like that. And I have mine in Blanc. So I think this is the lightest color that they do. People were raving about this. And it's quite expensive and it took me quite a while to get my hands on it because the theme here is Finland doesn't sell it. So I had to order it from somewhere. I ordered it. I used it. I didn't love it. So I mean, it is nice, but it doesn't sit nicely around my nose and it does settle into fine lines a bit on me, so not my favorite. Kind of wish I wouldn't have purchased it, but when I got it, I did use it quite a lot because it was hard to find foundations that match my skin, so I wouldn't recommend it. At least if you have dry skin, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is nice-ish. On my cheeks it goes on great because I don't really have imperfections there, but around my nose does not look great, so yeah, I was glad to get to try it, but a little bit sad about all the money I spent on it. So then we have an eyeshadow palette that everybody was raving about. Everybody loved it, and for the longest time I just went, I don't need it, I'm not gonna buy it. And then Kik started selling the eyeshadows from this brand. Before that they only had the eyebrow products, so you might know what brand I'm talking about, but yes, it was Modern Renaissance from Anastasia. Everybody was raving about this palette. However, the pinky colors did not speak to me, so I wasn't really interested in getting it. And then when Kik started selling it, I went and looked and I was like, oh, but there's some really beautiful colors and everybody says the formulation is great, and so it took me quite a few years before I finally picked it up, and woohoo. And as you might be able to see, I really love this palette. I hit pan on quite a few of the colors, and the color Vermeer I actually ended up getting a single of. And quite a few colors I did consider picking up as singles. So Warm Taupe, Vermeer, which I did pick up, Primavera, Tempera. I was thinking about picking them up, but then I just got around using other shadows and I didn't. But Vermeer is a beautiful, beautiful color, and maybe one day I'll pick up singles, but as you can see, the pinky tones I didn't actually use. So yeah, it is a beautiful palette and the formula is beautiful. So I don't know if the newer shadows has as good of a formula as this one does, but yeah, and one pan is like $12, so that's why I didn't pick up more yet, but maybe one day, who knows? And then, how can we go without talking about something from Colorpop? Everybody was raving about Colorpop, and I did get quite a few of their items. I'm only gonna mention one of them, and it's Flexitarian Highlighter. So this is a super shock cheek, and it's this beautiful highlighter. And so many people rave about it, and I was like, it doesn't look like it's gonna suit me. Then I finally caved and I bought it. And it is nice. I don't use it all the time, but it is a beautiful highlighter. So I'm not disappointed I picked it up. Then I have this lip balm from Innisfree. And it's only one YouTuber that I heard talking about it before I bought it, and it's Becca M. But Innisfree, my lip balm are great, and I actually have two of these. So yeah, she made me buy this. And I'm glad she did, because they're really nice. So then I have the Milani eyeshadow primer, and this one I'm pretty sure Emily Noel convinced me to buy. It is nice, and I do feel like it helps keeping my eyeshadows in place. So I'm glad she suggested I should buy it. So yep, she made me buy this. So the next item is a foundation, BB cream, and it is actually something I use most days when I wear makeup. So I'm glad somebody convinced me to buy this. And it is this BB cream from Missha. And Jessica Brown is the one to fault by this, but I don't really, because it is really great. So first I was like, well, 21, 22 won't match me, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I think I picked mine up on Amazon, and I picked it up in 13. 13 is the lightest color to my knowledge, and this one actually matches me pretty well. It's not a perfect match, but because it's not super high coverage, I think it matches me pretty good. And it is really nice. It doesn't really settle into fine lines. It doesn't show up dryness. I really love it. It is really lovely, and I would actually recommend other people to pick it up too, especially if you have dry skin. So if you can find a match, they don't have a great selection in the color range. I wish they would change that, but if you can find a color, I would highly recommend it, and maybe I could convince you to buy it. But yeah, it is really great. Then I have another recommendation by Jessica Brown. I have heard other people talk about it, but she was the one that I think made me actually buy it, and it's the blush bombs from Flower Beauty, and I have it impinged. It is great. I actually wish I would have picked up one under color when I went to the States, but I only found one. Ulta had sold it, and then we went to another state and I couldn't go to that Ulta, so I only ended up having one, but it is really nice, and if you can get these, I would highly recommend you checking them out. So then we have an item that is newer to me, but not new to the beauty community, and it's the Stila Shimmer and Glow eyeshadows. And people used to rave about these all the time, and I used to be, yeah, you know. A lot of people say that liquids are so great, but they usually don't work for me, so And then I finally was able to swatch them, and I decided to pick up one. It didn't crease on me. I was like, wow. So I picked up another one, and I'm really glad I did, because these are really lovely, and they do not crease. They do stay on a long time. However, if you do have watery eyes, that makes them move. So usually the inner corner on my eyes might start watering, especially if wind is blowing, so then they will disappear. But I mean, most makeup won't be able to hold up to that unless they're waterproof, and these are not. So, but yeah, I would recommend these. They are great, and I see why people rave about them so much. So then I have an item from Becca, and this is their under eye brightening corrector, and this one is not new to the market. However, I saw Samantha Ravindal, she kept on talking about it, and since I have glasses, I was like, I could really use some brightening, because I do get dark, especially in my inner corner, and I picked it up, and it is pretty nice. It's not as amazing as some people say, it's not a miracle, but I do like it, and I'm trying to get used to using this every time I put on makeup, because it does seem to help with the darkness in my inner corner, so it is nice. However, it can feel a little bit heavy, so a little bit goes a long way. Please don't pack it on. So then I have another bronzer, and this one is from Milani. This is their Silky Matte Sunlight bronzer, and this one is in number 1. So if you're fair like me, you know a lot of bronzers can look a little Oompa Loompa-ish on you because they are just too orange. Or then, of course, you can get some that are more reddish tone that more looks like when we actually tan. This one is a little bit more cooler, and it's a little bit stiffer, the formula, so I do feel like you don't easily over apply. You can build it up nicely, and it is a nice bronzer, and I can see why people rave about it so much. So I have 2 items left, and yes, I told you this is going to be a long video. So then we have the second to last product. So yes, I'm almost done, and it is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation, and this one was highly popular when it came out. A lot of people were raving about it. I think Kathleen Light was talking about it a lot, and she has dry skin, so I was like, if she likes it and I can find a color that matches me, it probably would be nice. And I have been looking for powders that have some coverage that would suit my skin, because I like having a powder foundation if I want to have a quick makeup look, just a little bit coverage but not crazy amount, and then I would usually use a bigger, fluffier brush to put it on. And I feel like this one doesn't sink into any pores or anything on my skin, and it is really nice. However, I don't use it every time I use makeup. Not because I don't like it, but I am worried when you use a lot of powders that it will dry your skin out over time. because that's how I felt when I was using Bare Minerals in their foundation, that it did dry out my skin over time. And people are like, oh, it's great, it won't dry out your skin. For me, it did, so that's why I don't use this every time. And I don't like using it as a setting powder on top of like a foundation like the BB cream. I just like using it on its own. It gives me enough coverage. I don't love high, crazy coverage. I mean, you can build it up, but I prefer just having it as a light coverage foundation. So you can buy this in Japan at one of the department stores, at least in Shinjuku. I don't remember which one. I think it's Hejsan. Hejsan. I don't know how you say it, but I think they sell it. However, I don't think they sell the lightest color though. So I was finally able to get hands on it when I went to the States, and I could get color matched, because I don't know about anybody else, but I really don't like to buy makeup online, especially when it comes to foundations, because I don't want to get the color wrong and pay all that money and then not be able to use it. So yeah, I was happy to be able to try it, and it does match me really good, so I like it. So then we have the last item, and it is the Gemini palette from Melt Cosmetics. And this one came out a while ago, and I remember Raw Beauty Christie, she did a tutorial using it, and I just fell in love with the colors, especially these green ones. I was like, oh my god, they look so beautiful, I have to have it. And then they sold out, and it was supposed to be limited edition and they weren't bringing it back, and I was so gutted. And then Melt Cosmetics actually brought it back, and I bought it. I was like, I want it, it's so beautiful. And I'm definitely not disappointed I bought it. However, Melt Cosmetics eyeshadows have a tendency to just fade in my crease, so I don't get a ton of use out of it. However, I have found that with some other eyeshadows, if I put that underneath and build up a good layer of other ones that doesn't fade on me that quickly, I can use it and it doesn't fade as quickly. But I want my eyeshadows to last quite a long time, and if they are gonna fade after a few hours, then it's not for me. So it is a beautiful color scheme, it's a beautiful palette, but they don't last on me. But I am glad I picked it up because I wanted it for so long. So yeah, those were some of the items that YouTubers have convinced me to buy. Not all of them, I'm afraid to say. I do have quite a few. So I usually do not buy items just immediately as they come out and everybody's talking about them. I do usually see if people genuinely like them. If they keep on talking about the items, they usually actually like them, and you know, that's when I end up buying them. So a lot of times I don't have the newest new. I have items that people actually like. So yeah, because you know, why spend all your hard-earned money unless you have abundance of it, which most of us don't have. I like to really think about it, and I do like that people are talking about it and showing it how it actually works and tested it out for a while, so I can see if it is really suitable for me or not. So enough rambling, I've been going on for long enough. I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have items that YouTubers made you buy, or if I made you buy something, I don't think so, but if I did, please comment down below or share your own video with me. And I hope to see you guys really soon. Subscribe if you haven't. Hej då!